I know you're nervous for the Rams, but you got to be a little enthusiastic after being there.
Bro, that game atmosphere was ridiculous. The energy, the electricity. That place was rocking. Anyone was there, and a lot of the Super Buck fans were there too.
The Tampa Tones. We are joined by lead goon tonight, host of the Pat and Aaron show of WDAE, Pat Donovan. And it sounds like Stunna is bumbling a little bit. Going to put him on mute for a second until that gets a little clear. But we're joined by Pat Donovan.
It looks like Stunna's hanging out with Cheech and Chong in a car with the windows up or something over there.
It does look like we got a little...
No, my camera's broke.
J-Lo, championship bound, my friend. The Disney man, the Gators can, the man, the myth, the legend himself, the great J-Lo. Congrats on the Florida Gators, Bucs 78. Fire the damn cannons. I tried to get a little video going, but it didn't quite work as planned. But nonetheless, we're here celebrating J-Lo. J-Lo, I swear I had a video teed up for you, but yeah, we'll talk off here. How the hell you doing, brother?
Go, baby, let's go.
How you feeling, bud? How you feeling?
How's that for excitement?
How the hell you feeling?
Oh, man, Cloud 9, man. And none better being at Disney with one of my children, and then watching the Florida Gators win out a close one against Auburn. Shout out to Auburn. They're a good basketball team. But Florida was a better team last night. And now you got
to go to the Disney for the champs now. They're good luck for you.
Oh, definitely. For sure, man. There's so many people gator chomping me everywhere around Disney. I did see this one Auburn fan, and I just looked at him. He kind of smirked at me. I told him, good luck.
It was a fun game.
Oh, yeah.
Florida ended up being the better team for the duration of the game, but, man, Auburn had to have you on pins and needles there for a little bit.
It's been like that all the tournament, man. Every single game, man. It's just been pure anxiety. But that's what you watch the game for. You watch for those close ones. Even if your team doesn't win, you still get the excitement, enjoyment of the competitiveness of this team and how good they really are. Now it's on.
Yeah, like you don't, not to cut you off, but I think you're right. UConn 2 years ago, I know a championship's a championship, but I guarantee you if you ask UConn Husky fans out there, they'll tell you their championship run 2 years ago where they were playing a lot of close games, playing to the buzzer was a lot more thrilling than last year, kind of where they blew by everybody.
Exactly. I mean, at the end of the day, this was a long time coming for us, Gator fans out there. It's been forever since they made a Final Four appearance. It's just been a long, long road, and now they're finally in the final game of college basketball, trying to win a championship. And Houston's not going to be easy. It's going to be another anxiety game tomorrow night, but I'll be rooting for them, and I'm proud of them either way of how far they come.
Yeah, I'm proud of you and your fellas as well. But we're going to get more into March Madness as time rolls on here. We got a women's championship game, men's championship tomorrow. Again, hope you like the intro. Should have been a little better, but we'll talk about it, J-Lo. Bucs 78. Fire the damn cannons. Go Bucs, go Bucs, go Bucs. We're going to talk about the Bucs now, J-Lo. Not usually the past couple of years we've heard about contract restructures happening and whatnot, and they kind of made more headwind, but I feel like the Bucs are in such a good spot now. These past week restructurings kind of flew under the radar a little bit. We talked about the couple that happened earlier in the week on our Wednesday show. By the way, every Wednesday we'll be live 3rd July here on the Buccaneers, 6 o'clock Eastern time. PM, so we'll see what happened now. But J-Lo, before we get to the restructures, we're gonna have Julio hangs them up. Julio Jones, former Bucs wide receiver, retiring, hanging him up, fading into the sun. What say you?
I mean, to me, it was a long time coming. I mean, Julio had a great career. Such never won a Super Bowl. He was close, but the fact that he was a Buck, and it made Falcons fans furious, him going to a division rival, that to me was very entertaining. But although, like I said, he had a great career, he just made plays. He was a Buck killer. I hated playing against him over the years when we stinked. But hey, shout out to him, man. Enjoy retirement. He might get into coaching. Maybe he might go do TV commentary. Who knows? You never know what he might do. But he was a very entertaining player to watch over the years, except when we played him. I hated him.
When he was in his prime, he torched us. He murked us. He destroyed us.
He used to love playing against us, man, especially when we were down on corners, man. Brent Grimes had a wonderful time trying to cover him.
There was a 5-year run there where our corners were atrocious. But you look at some of his years, his problem was health. Sometimes he was unhealthy. For instance, 2013 only played 5 games. His rookie year only played 13 games. 2020 in Atlanta, 9 games. 2021 with the Titans, 10 games. 2022 with the Bucs, 10 games. 23 with the Eagles, 11 games. So he had a problem staying on the field. But awesome career for him. Some of his highlights include almost 1,900 yard season in 2015 with the Falcons, 1,700 yard season 2018 with the Falcons. He did make the playoffs with the Bucs, had a couple of touchdowns in that season. So hats off to the man. Hall of Fame incoming, in my opinion, for Julio. But as Olivia said, hey, Julio is awesome. But like J-Lo said, long time coming. Yeah, Olivia used to love the commercial for fantasy that went like dance, 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 do the Julio. But J-Lo, I remember when he came to the Bucs, I had a lot of hype, even though he was coming off the injury plagued Titans season. I'm like, man, he's coming to Tampa. He's going to be playing with Godwin, Evans, Brady, Lunny F, all these cats. Obviously, Gronk retired that year, so. What say you though, J-Lo, on what hype you could remember or what it felt like when you did hear that the Bucs signed Julio? I know a lot of people said he was over the hill, but you still hoped he had a little something left in the tank. The Bucs get that out of veterans seemingly, right? Sterling Shepard showed a little life when he came back to the Bucs. Rashad Perriman showed a little life the couple stints he came back to the Bucs. A couple other examples in years past, but not with Julio. Not terrible, but 2 touchdowns, 299 yards. You were expecting a lot more.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It just shows that he was just not really the same durable Julio he once was, in his prime. He made some plays for the most part, but I was excited when we signed him. More depth, the merrier. He didn't have to be the guy, the number 1 receiver. He just needed to be a reliable, dependable guy getting like 3rd down conversions and stuff. But unfortunately, it didn't work out that way. He made that one big catch against Dallas that first Sunday night game, and then boom, we didn't see him for 3 or 4 weeks. So
yeah, remember that catch was epic. But that was kind of the theming of the Bucs 2022 season: injuries, oldness on the field, and just falling short.
Just like that. And then even the Monday night game when we beat Philly a couple years ago in the playoffs, he made one play against us and he went off the field. We never saw him again. So, but it was fun. It was intriguing, him being a Buck, going to a division rival, pissing off the Atlanta fans. I know some of them were punching the air, when they found out, he's going to a division rival and stuff. But him playing with Brady was really entertaining. That's what they always wanted to play together. And just another, legend player came to be a Buck. Now he's retired. Go down as, the first ever Buck player to score a touchdown in Germany. When we went to.
Yeah. That's a fun fact. You should hold that in your back pocket for a trivia question.
Exactly. Like, he was the first wide receiver. He was the first player to score a touchdown in the game itself. So that's a fun fact, fans can take in for Julio Jones.
Yeah, and J-Lo, also another good sign, talking about retirement. It's a happy time, although it's sad that the player's done, it's happy in the grand scheme of things. So another happy thing Bucs fans are probably noticing, probably seeing, that's new Buccaneers linebacker Anthony Walker. He's been hot and heavy in the workout room to this point, J-Lo, with the great, legendary, future Ring of Honor, future Hall of Famer. I'm saying future Hall of Famer. I think he gets in. Levante David. It seems like Anthony Walker and Levante are forming a bond already. They both grew up in the Florida land, so maybe they have some connections over there. But J-Lo, you always love to see, no matter who the hell it is, whether it's a 1-year undrafted free agent or a 6-7 year veteran like Anthony Walker, whoever could kind of combat themselves with the great Levante David in terms of workout regimen, sign me up. To me, that guy wants to make an impact on the field. To me, that's a guy who wants to not only make an impact on the field, but play on the field. And that's a guy who wants to bring leadership to the younger linebackers in this locker room as well.
And that's what you want to see out of a player like that coming to a new team, but familiarity with Levante David. You like to see that. He's a guy who wants to go in there and compete and win championships. And that's something I like to see, especially bringing his experience, for our guy Savasi Dennis. And then whoever our new linebacker we draft, I think we'll draft one. I mean, he'll bring great leadership. And it was entertaining, especially Levante trying to take him under his wing a little bit, and say, hey, here's how you could be a leader, be a good example, work hard. Not that he wasn't working hard during the offseason, over his past offseason, but, just giving him input saying, hey, try this, maybe this might work.
It's like Tom Brady, right? These Bucs guys could have been working out greatly, as Christopher Cole says. Morning, CC. Happy Cubs winning streak. But J-Lo, as you said, doesn't mean they're not working out hard. But when Brady comes, it's a different type of workout. When you're working out with Levante opposed to other linebackers, you're going to step it up a notch.
Oh, absolutely. Just watching his press conference, he just seemed like he was very determined to come in here and help this football team, and that's one thing I'm really intrigued about Anthony Walker. So let's go ahead and see what happens. I think if he stays healthy, along with Savasi Dennis, I think we got a much better linebacking room than we had the last couple of years, if you want to be honest.
I agree with that. I think I definitely agree with that. I mean, if Servachier stays, and I honestly like what I saw out of Deion Jones towards the end of the year. I don't think he'll play a critical part in this upcoming season by any means, but I didn't hate what I saw from him, J-Lo.
No, I mean, that's another one too, another experienced player, you want on your roster. And he's had some success when he played, when he was a starter in Atlanta, and when he went around to another team and gave it his all. But he finished pretty strong, so I'm fine with the group we got going in. Much better last 2 or 3 seasons in the linebacker room. I feel is going to be really good depth. Having 2 veterans along with Levante David, and then you got Savasi Dennis if he can stay healthy. That's productive. And then draft a rookie to learn under them guys, because sooner or later Levante will hand the cleats, and someone's got to take over his role.
Yeah, I really feel like this might be it this year for Levante David, and there's nothing official or rumors swirling, but come on, he's signing 1 year after 1 year deals at this point. He's a little bit older every year, obviously. He can't get younger. We wish we could put him in a time machine, but I really think this could be it. And I think that's why you're maybe seeing the Bucs address the linebacker room. That's why it's Big J Edward joining the show on Facebook. I know Jay's happy about Florida. The Big Gators win is we'll bring in Joey's probably getting socked by Big Dog in the background. That's why his camera's off and removed. But we'll get into that. If you hear screams or anything, we'll have to check into that over there. Maybe do a wellness check. Joey, you good?
All good, because Cougar Land is going to be taking out these washed up Gators. Listen here, Mickey Mouse, J-Lo. You think because you're at Disney World, Disneyland, whatever the hell one you're at these days, and you think you're loving life when you're Gators on an elevator with no service pretty much? Pathetic. Cougars are going to come in tomorrow. They're going to run you, boat race you. They're going to come back. The Duke story, they crush their dreams, and they're going to crush yours. So let me tell you something, brother. Enjoy it while you can, because tomorrow night's going to be hell for you.
And although that was an epic comeback, how about the refs helping out Houston a little bit too? Calling that over the back and Cooper. What are you doing? Guy didn't even foul anybody, and
they didn't complain about the Houston missed calls. No complaints on the Houston missed calls.
Well, because none were that egregious. That was the worst missed call of the tournament. But obviously terrible loss by Duke. Auburn and Duke choked. Let's be quite honest. Both of those teams had substantial leads at points in the game, especially Duke. But they choked. No way around it. But, man, you watch that replay on that Cooper flag. over the back on the free throw. I mean, dude didn't even leave his feet. How do you get it over the back if you're still on your toes? But we're going to get into March Madness more. Joey, I want to ask you this because Anthony Walker was a Colt at one point in time, the new Bucs linebacker. He's been working out with Levante David. What kind of veteranship do you think a guy like that in this point of his career, 6th, 7th year now, he's bounced around a couple teams. What do you think the Bucs fans could expect from a veteran like Anthony Walker brought to the linebacker room?
Oh, I mean, honestly, for that type of signing this late in his career, I think it's a really good move. Number one, he's not one of those guys who has bad stops along the way. Like each place he's played, whether it was Cleveland, Indianapolis, even Miami, where he had a pick last year and, ended up with about 70 tackles, I think, roughly. He's always a fan favorite, and he's always a captain leader, somebody who could be much better in that room from what they've had at the second linebacker position. When he was on the Colts from 2017 to 2020, he was the Mike linebacker, and even maybe in Cleveland. So he's all too familiar with calling plays. He's a very smart fella. He came from Northwestern. Those of you who listen from the Chicago area, very prestigious, good school for academics. So this 29-year-old is not one of those 35-year-old over the edge. No, he's still 29. And if he can stay healthy, I think he's going to cause you guys a lot of dividends this year because, again, I don't have to tell Bucs fans this, but we know the second linebacker position struggled many of times.
Yeah, far too often last year. I mean, not going to knock our ex-Bucs, but a lot of linebackers look like they were stuck in mud running out there the past couple of years for the Bucs. Guys getting wide open.
Kind of like Raekwon Davis on the Colts just stuck.
Yeah, well, that guy, I'll just bite my tongue on that again. I was excited for that signing with the Colts, but man, that guy could not move out there, dude. That guy was stuck. Fucking took the money and ran. What can you do? We're going to get to the Colts offseason updates here shortly. One more Bucs thing to talk about quick, J-Lo. Bucs restructured Antoine Winfield Jr. to free up more 2025 cap space. His $21 million base salary was shifted to a minimum salary and a bonus and void year, resulting almost $16 million into new cap space. And obviously the Bucs did that with Tristan Wirfs earlier. We talked about that one. We also talked about the Mayfield contract restructure on our last episode, the Mike Evans one as well. So Winfield might be the last one here, maybe some extensions incoming. But once again, J-Lo, this Bucs front office doing cap gymnastics here yet again in an offseason, getting this team under the salary cap in a big way.
Absolutely. That's what Mike Greenberg and his staff do. They pretty much just restructure, create cap space as much as possible in case they want to make a big jump at grabbing another possible free agent or maybe a trade. Who knows? I don't see it happening. But, these guys know how to work together to make more cap space and make it doable. That's what you got to like about, these players. They want to help the team. Yeah, they get a quicker payday, which that's well-deserved for the most part. But the fact that they're getting it knocked out of the way, getting ready to draft our new 6, possibly 7 players, depending if we trade back or not, be able to sign those guys and get them going.
Joey, the Bucs, they're very high-end and efficient at doing this type of thing with the contracts and the restructurings and whatnot. As a Colts fan, what do you see mainly your team do to try? Does your team do a lot of restructures? Do you guys extend, or do you kind of just give one to 1 year deal? How does the Colts front office roll when you're trying to get under the cap?
Well, we're always under the cap because before this offseason, we kept our hands in our pockets more times than not when it came to the outside. But what I do like what we did, for example, Anthony Richardson is on a rookie deal, right? Okay, so that's a nice cheap deal. They've moved everyone's contract to pretty much match his timeline of a 3-year deal. So like Buckner, to get more money last year, they signed him to an extension that created more cap space for this year and next year. That's one good example there. Another example was just all the free agents we signed. And if we do sign free agents, usually not a ton of guaranteed money, but since our defensive backfield was so bad, we changed that this year with Ward and Bynum. But the Colts are usually always top 10 to top 12 in cap. people could call that smart or cheap. It depends on how you look at it, but we haven't really had teams to contend yet. So we usually will extend the good players and then bring in the 1-year type deals for those type of moves. But I love that.
That's one of those things when it works and you don't spend money, you're the smartest GM in the world, right? But then if you lose, you're the cheapest GM. You can't win in that situation. It's like, you grow through youth and not spending money and you have success. Like, look at the Rays. When they're good, everyone's like, man, they're geniuses. Look at how good they are. But then when they're bad, it's like, hey, they could have spent a couple more dollars.
Exactly. And that's why this year I'm excited to change the philosophy, because it's win now time in Indy with the Richardson timeline. Good morning, folks, from Mr. H back after celebrating. What sport we talking here for all this?
UTC in Nebraska. I'm thinking that's sock.
Yeah, exactly what I thought. We don't celebrate things like that here.
No, that's hopscotch. I think chess and hopscotch. I think I want to give that.
Sorry, Mr. H, you haven't got my socks off yet, but we'll keep it going.
Nebraska winning the hopscotch tournament. That's awesome. So congratulations to the Nebraska men's hopscotch professional team for their championship win. Everybody pick up a chalk and go in the backyard. Basketball, yeah, they won the NIT or whatever, right? Or
no, Chattanooga did.
Or then
you said NIT.
Oh, University of Tennessee Chattanooga. So UTC. So Mr. H is a UTC guy, it seems now. That's awesome. We learn something new every day. Here on the
brought
program.
Us back some T-shirts.
Yeah. Well, Mr. H in NIT, that's like, pretty much it's like, hey, you were good enough to be a shit school and not make the main tournament. So thank you for that championship win. It's like, well,
come on, they got feelings too. My God.
I know. I'm just saying, celebrating NIT championships is like celebrating nothing pretty much, because it's pretty much not even a second place, pretty much a 69th place. It's like a 69th place trophy, because there's 68 teams that are better than you who made the tournament. So hey, you're the runner-up. You're not good enough to get in the field of 68. Here's your 69th place trophy. But no, congrats to UTC on their 69th place trophy. And Nebraska winning in basketball. Speaking of winning, we're winning here on the Buccaneers. We're going to get our March Madness talking here shortly. We got Championship Sunday for the women, Championship Monday for the men. Going to be two incredible games. I truly think these are four of the best, if not the four best teams in both men and women college hoops this year. So going to be a lot of fun to talk about that stuff there. And then we got a lot of other stuff to talk about too. Joey, real quickly here, give us Colts off-season updates. Anything happening in the world of Indianapolis that catches the eye of the NFL?
I'm starting to finally look at mock drafts, the schedule that a lot of teams came out, as you all know, with their schedule coming up for some practices, some early movement here. So just really trying to wait until the draft, and then the schedule comes out. Other than that, shout out Colts Ring of Honor Bill Brooks, and happy birthday for him. And then that's really not many more updates there. I'm waiting to get back to the draft. I want to see what we do on offense. We got our defensive guys from free agency. So one thing I do want to say with the coaches meeting, for the people who voted against the tush push, you're babies, you're crybabies. I'm not going to get too much into it, but either stop it or run it yourself. Voting to annex it because you want to put player safety, you don't have any facts to prove player safety on that. So that's my 2 cents there, and I'll stop.
Yeah, I go back and I think I'm more for letting the tush push remain in the game. But at the same time, I don't think the running backs and stuff should be able to push you and, get you in the air for leverage situations and such. I don't think my thing isn't injury related. It's just, how much leverage do you get from 2 or 3 running backs running up behind you and pushing you over the top? So I think I'm more for letting it stay in the game. Don't get me wrong, because the Bucs do a pretty good job at stopping that, as J-Lo knows as well. The Bucs are one of the better teams at stopping the tush push. When you got a guy like Vita Vea and Kalijah Kancey up the middle, it makes it a little easier. But I do hate the factor of the leverage tactics that these running backs could kind of just simply run up right behind you and start pushing you in the back, and then next thing you know, you're into the end zone. So maybe you can modify it, right? Maybe you could have in those situations nobody could line up behind the quarterback or something like that. I'd be more for something like that. But J-Lo, thoughts on the tush push? Up.
But like we talked about last time on the last show, if you're a really good NFL coach, a really good defensive coach, you'll figure it out on how to stop the tush push. Just like any other play you go up against, when it comes to these special plays. Like the Wildcat. Remember the Wildcat was a thing, but then defense started figuring out how to stop it. So that's what you do if you're a really good defensive coach. And that's where Bowles comes in, because I feel like he's a great defensive coach, and he knows how to stop the tush push for the most part. Yeah, once in a while he's not going to always get it. But to me, if you're a really good coach, you figure it out how to stop it. Not try to, stop that play and make it illegal.
Now, the thing is, a lot of people say, because it is in the NFL rule books, you can't give leverage to a fellow player. And that's a beef about it, is you are kind of getting leverage from a couple players. So it'll be interesting to see if they just kind of make the tush push a thing. It seems like it's going to stay because they let it go on. So I'm for it. Hey, why not? As we all said, it'll be figured out eventually, for better or for worse. So let it rule, let it ride. Why the hell not? It's kind of funny, right? Everyone says like, oh, look, they banned the shift in baseball. If you watch baseball, you can still see freaking shifts happening and whatnot. So again, maybe they'll make a soft ban on it and modify it, but we'll see. I agree. Don't let it get to 3rd and 4th and 1 to begin with. Yeah, that's a good point as well. Especially that was a synopsis of the Bucs against the Commanders in that playoff game. Not that they were tush pushing us, but we kept letting them to get to 3rd and 4th and 1, and they kind of smacked us around. But yeah, no, tush push. That's a great debate. I think it should stay though. Again, maybe modify it slightly, but you can't just flat out ban it. To me, that's stupid and the easy thing to do, the easy way out, ladies and gentlemen. But we are here on a Sunday live. Joey Nips, J-Lo, Tampa Tones, and the Buccaneers Sunday FUNDAY. Cleve and me, Buccaneers United, joining forces before Joey served his papers. But Joey, since I don't know if you're echoing in a bathroom with Big Dog right now or whatnot, but we're here on a Sunday, Joey. MLB Sunday. Now, obviously, it doesn't live up to NFL Sunday at all. Not comparing it to NFL Sunday in terms of the excitement, the joyness, the happiness. But this is kind of what we're with for the foreseeable future is MLB Sundays. Yeah, you get championship women's games sprinkled in today. Later on, you get NBA, NHL playoffs. But for the most part, it's a day dominated by the MLB. What's the vibe of an MLB Sunday opposed to an NFL Sunday in your mind?
Definitely less intense for the most part. I mean, if you're looking at NFL, right, we do only get majority Sundays our teams play. I know every day of the week it's covered now because the NFL is king, but on Sundays, that's a treasured day. The nerves are very high. And then if you lose, the vibes get very low for us, especially we know House with Pops. He's like, oh, man, when one team lose. So
he gets summer-eyed,
Yeah, it's where season's over. But baseball-wise, it's always nice to watch because we play fantasy. And listen, our Cubs are hot right now, so it even makes it that much more enjoyable. Ray's playing well as well. But if you have a bad team come July, August, you can't wait for football. But right now, enjoy it. This is the best time for all baseball fans, even if you're the hopeless Braves at 1-8. You still have a lot of faith this early in the season. So the vibes are still high this early.
Man, hopeless Braves. Who would have thought that would be said where we are now? But they're getting players suspended, players injured. It's just a disaster so far over there in Atlanta. J-Lo, what say you, my friend? I know you're a big sports junkie like Joey and myself. You like all the sports. What say you on your vibes of an MLB Sunday opposed to those of a football Sunday?
So usually with me, I'm kind of bipolar with it. I get into it when season first starts. But then once you get to July, like Joey mentioned, depending how your team's doing, it's kind of not really entertaining anymore. But I like it. It keeps me occupied for the most part until other events come up and stuff. As far as the Rays go, they're kind of on a 2-game losing streak. But can't win them all. Eventually, they'll definitely get back on the winning track, I feel. When I was at the game Wednesday, the outside vibe was really nice. That was pretty cool going to Steinbrenner. It was hot, 90, I think it was like 92, 94 degrees that day. And yeah, but anyway, long story short, I mean, I'm all for it. You know, it'll give me something to do for a couple hours, watching the race game later. And that's pretty much my opinion on that.
Sunday fun day. Sit back, relax, kick your feet up, whatever sports you got on, relax. Obviously, NFL Sunday takes the cake, but Sunday, at least baseball, takes us over the finish line, gets us through June, July, the dog days of summer with something to watch on the television that is sports more so than just soap operas and movies and stuff along that nature. So I will give baseball its kudos on filling in the gap nicely. It's like a substitute teacher, you know, you could do your job for a little bit of the time, but then when it's time to buckle up and sit down come the end of August, you got once week 0 of college football hits, baseball really takes a back seat. So it does its part, it does its job, and then football comes and says, thank you for what you've done, thank you for your service. You're good to be relegated again. But the Godfather joining us on Facebook, James Rubright, watching us live. Love you, Godfather. Hope all is well with you, my friend. Speaking of well, we know who is really well today. That's the South Carolina woman Gamecocks, and that is the UConn fight and Paige Beckers and Gino Auriemma. He's a legend, man. This UConn, to me, the UConn women's basketball coach, one of the greatest of all time, not only in women's basketball, obviously, but if you're combining men's and women's coaches, I don't know if you got a better coach than UConn's head coach. And South Carolina is great as well. So Gino Auriemma is going to bring his A game. 40th season coaching. That is incredible. And you know what blows my mind? Obviously, it's still a great amount of money. But this guy's salary a year is $2.4 million. To me, he should be making at least $5 million a year. I mean, UConn women hoops is always, always, always in the big grand of things. I'm rooting for UConn. Pops texting, go UConn. Joey, ladies Gamecocks, UConn. What say you? I know me and you could benefit from a UConn ladies win.
Oh, absolutely. I'm all over it today. Want UConn to win big in that pick 'em pool that you created, which is always good stuff. So South Carolina, how do I keep it mild? Really dislike their head coach. Really, really, really dislike their coach. I'll leave it at that. Go UConn. Gino, take it home.
And you know what pisses me off? For teams like Auburn men's basketball, for teams like women's UConn basketball, everyone's giving, oh my God, these teams are, they're chiseled veterans. Why are they blah, blah, blah? Like the average age of these teams. Well, you can't have it both ways, people. You're talking out of both sides of your mouth. You're saying kids are coming and going too quick, but then you're complaining when a 23-year-old Paige Beckers is greatness in front of our eyes. So what way do you want it? Can't have it both ways. I'm excited to see what Paige Buckets does for UConn today. J-Lo, what do you think about the women's college hoops championship today?
I mean, to me, UConn legacy, many history of winning multiple championships over the years. I think this is their game to win today. No disrespect or no knock on South Carolina women's basketball team. It's just when you play against the best, to me, UConn women basketball is one of the best of all time, when it comes to women's basketball. So I got to go with UConn on this one.
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm in UConn as well. So that's 3 of us for UConn. Nothing against South Carolina. They've had a great year. And women's college basketball was a lot of fun this year. It does stink that Juju Watkins got hurt and that ultimately removed her season and ended it early. But in the grand scheme of things, it's going to be a fun one. I don't think it's a blowout. I don't think UConn blows them out. I know the spread looks a little lopsided, but me personally, I don't believe it's a blowout. I think it's a close game, fellas. What say you two?
No, I agree. It'll be closer than experts think.
Joey?
I hope it's a blowout, but yeah, I agree. It's probably close, at least for 3.5 quarters. Maybe UConn could pull away at the end, but I imagine they'll be within the 7.5 point spread, I believe.
Yeah, I think it stays close, but I would take UConn. And once again, Paige Beckers, Gino Ariam, just perfect 1-2 punch there in the world of women's college basketball. From the women's to the men's hardwood floor, two incredible games yesterday. Auburn, Florida, epic. Auburn had a very nice lead at the half. I think it was around 8 points at half. And, they couldn't finish, couldn't build on that. Florida kept chipping away, took the lead late. They went back and forth a couple times, and with about a minute and a half, 2 minutes left, Florida started pulling away a little bit. Ultimately win that thing by 6. Bruce Pearl, Johnny Broome, they had great years in Auburn, but they fell short. And Florida, victorious. And then Duke, the other favorite. Florida and Duke were by far the two biggest favorites coming into March Madness. I got a $3 future bet on Florida, by the way, to pay $183 if they win. I took that way back in November. So go Gators. But anyway, Houston, what a season they had. Everyone counted them out. I mean, if they were down 14 with like 9 minutes left, they were down 9 with a couple minutes left, they were down 6 with 30 seconds left. The fact that Houston won that game with head coach Kelvin Sampson, that was an incredible fairy tale ending. As I said earlier, the one call went against Duke, but still, they choked it away. You can't do that. And it really does hurt when you look at it. You go, we'll be back. It's so hard to get back to the Final Four. It's just really hard to get back to the Final Four. So, Joey, give us your thoughts. I'm going to have you more so talk about the Cougars and Duke game from yesterday. Then I'm going to let J-Lo kind of break down the Auburn and Florida one.
Yeah, the reason I did like Houston coming into this tournament is because they have one of the
because you have them winning your bracket.
Correct. I have them winning a couple of brackets. So when you look at their team, you see a lot of 4th and 5th year guys, and especially a lot of them that have played together for multiple seasons. It's not a lot of one and dones per se for them. So, I mean, their roster is pretty evenly matched. They have one of the best defenses, if not best defense in the country. And to me, that matters a whole lot in the tournament because, like, when you're down big yesterday, if you can clamp up on D, then you get a few buckets to go your way. Things go pretty smooth. And, they're led by LJ Cryer, but, for example, they have 4 guys who average over 10 points a game. So they have really good team ball. Calvin Sampson's, like as you mentioned, one of the best coaches in the country from way back in more in his day, Indiana, to now where he is here, mixed in with a few others. He's really been impressive for this program. So I like the veteran leadership of this team with many seniors and even 50-year guys. That's why I picked them. So it's going to be interesting because Florida has more of the flashy star power. So it's kind of going to be like yesterday where it's more flash versus grit. And I'm interested to see who comes out on top. But I've rooted for Florida to this point, mostly for J-Lo. But when we're talking hundreds and hundreds of dollars, I got to be on Houston.
And that's why I ended up shifting to the Auburn bandwagon because I had Florida winning it all with my futures. But then in my pick'em pool, I pulled Auburn. And I thought, if Auburn somehow pulls this out, everybody's on Florida. My path to the cash could be Auburn. So I ended up switching my bracket from Florida to Auburn, which I don't regret because I don't think I would have won money at this point anyways. I would have had either Florida against Alabama or Florida against Tennessee in the championship game. So regardless, my bracket would have been fizzled most likely with everybody taking Florida. That's kind of why I switched to Auburn. And I like Bruce Pearl. I like what they bring to the table. But ultimately, they fell short. They did put up a hell of an effort, as did Duke. I'll tip my cap to both of the losing squads, Duke and Auburn. They didn't make these games easy by any means. They made Florida earn it. They made Houston earn it. It's going to be a hell of a championship battle. But I do want to give quick kudos to the losing effort side in Auburn and Duke before J-Lo updates us on why Gators stand a big chance come tomorrow night.
I mean, Florida's always been just competitive. I mean, that's just what they've been all season long.
And you were a fan of their head coach from the start regarding the fake news allegations, all the bullshit fluff. You stood by his side, and it paid off.
Absolutely. I mean, that's another thing. They fought through that crap with the altercations and all that stuff. It was ridiculous. But long story short, Florida earned their way. They deserve to be called one of the top programs in the country right now in basketball, which is very huge for the program. Shout out to Golden. He's going to get a nice little payday extension coming up with, what he's done, coaching these kids up, getting them ready for the bigger stage for the most part. And like you mentioned, shout out to Auburn. They're a good basketball team. They were very challenged. They were ranked number 1 for a while throughout the season. And it shows why they were deserving to be
technically number 1 ranked team in the tournament.
Exactly. So that to me just shows that, Florida can compete with any team in the country, no matter what, squad they have, and shout out to Duke. I mean, Duke made this far. They're one of the most talked about teams as well. But you can't leave out Houston. Houston, hey, it's going to be a fun matchup tomorrow. I'm looking forward to it. I feel that it's going to be a back and forth game between both teams. And to me, you got to make your free throws. I think that's going to be key on winning this game. You got to make your free throws, trying to get fouled out. I mean, it's going to be competitive, and I think Florida is definitely going to be a team that's going to be reckoned with the next couple of years, because they still got some players returning next season. They'll lose Walter Clayton Jr., who's been our star player, one of our top shooters in the game. He's going to go up to the next level and dominate. But I'm excited, for the future of Florida basketball, no matter what the outcome comes tomorrow night.
Yeah, our guy Tyler Sharp joins us saying Duke choked that one away. Go Gators, yes, sir. That's pretty much a synopsis of it. That was a historic collapse by Duke. But have no fear, we got Red Eyes Pick'em coming up in a fun twist of a Red Eyes Pick'em segment where we're going to pick the women's championship game score predictions and the men's championship game score predictions. We got women's today, men's tomorrow. Men's is at 8:50 tomorrow, so 8:50 Eastern PM. Hope you could stay up. Yeah, hope you could stay up late. Joey, we'll shovel you out of here shortly. We know you got to go wipe Big Dog's behind, so we'll get you on the move here in a minute. But no worries, Joey.
You didn't even have to share that note. Could have just moved on. Thank you.
Yeah, well, sorry when you got to wipe someone's ass. I
like that minor league Twins hat you got on.
Yeah, your jokes don't bother me. J-Lo, South Carolina against UConn women's hoops today, 3:30 Eastern on ESPN, I believe. So, no, 3 o'clock Eastern on ESPN. I'm sorry. Who do you got, and what's your score, J-Lo? UConn, South Carolina.
Give me UConn win a close one against South Carolina. Give me UConn 64, South Carolina 60. That's where I would go with that one.
I love it. Joey Nip, UConn, South Carolina. What's your score?
I'm going UConn 75, South Carolina 70.
And I'm going to go UConn and Paige Beckers 68-60 over South Carolina Lady Gamecocks. So we all have close battles, close affairs there. Joey, you have Houston in March Madness. We're going to let you start this one off. Houston against Florida tomorrow night, 8:50 p.m. Eastern. Get your energy drinks ready on CBS.
Yeah, for real. Hate how they always start it so late. At least college, they do a little bit better with that. But sticking to the task at hand, got to stick with Houston. That's my tourney pick team. That's where I could win my money. They play a little bit lower scoring games. That being said, I will go Houston 69, Florida 67.
J-Lo, your Gators. Dun, 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 dun. They're on the prowl tomorrow. Who you got? What's your score?
It's going to be a tense game, man. Probably my heart's going to pop out of my chest tomorrow night watching this game. But give me Florida 85, Houston 83. It'll be a close one. I think Florida pulls away. They'll trail for a little bit like they've done the past couple of games, and then they just come back like a rage out of hell. Or like a bat out of hell. There we go. Let me fix that. Like a bat out of hell, and end up winning another national championship to bring home to the University of Florida. Go Gators.
Yeah, I love it. I'm going to go Gators in a close one as well. They're my path to money, so I'm going to go with the money, 78-72, Florida Gators. I got bringing home the championship gold. That was our Red Eyes Pick'em segment, and it's going to be a fun Sunday and Monday in sports. Also, what makes it more fun, AEW Dynasty pay-per-view tonight. I know Joey and I will be watching. That starts at about 6:30 Eastern, the pre-show, 6 o'clock Eastern on YouTube. AEW Dark Hour for Dynasty. J-Lo, you don't watch that, so not going to ask you your opinion. Joey, thoughts on AEW Dynasty?
Looking forward to it, especially with our buddy Myron in town, who you mentioned a couple times. We're going to be living it up. I cannot wait. Hope Swerve Strickland, even though I'm a Moxley fan, have a signed picture with him. I will be rooting for Mr. Swerve Strickland in the main event to take the title. You have other wrestlers like Chris Jericho wrestling for your average fan or somebody that does not know. So there's going to be a lot of good matches. Kenny Omega also. So be looking forward to AEW Dynasty tonight. Catch it the pre-show on YouTube and catch the main show on HBO Max or pay-per-view DirecTV.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine being like Cleve or J-Lo and just limiting myself to one promotion. You get half the shows, half the viewership, half the coverage. So that's on them. But looking forward to AEW Dynasty tonight. I think it's going to be near I think they got 8,000. That's their max capacity. And I think it's almost filled, if not all filled. So should be a lit crowd tonight for AEW Dynasty. Our great friend Tony Aguilini of the show says, "Go Gators, go." Yup, Tony Aguilini is on board. Joey, we remember the great Tony Aguilini.
Absolutely. And since we're still on the Florida topic, shout out to Billy Donovan getting into the Hall of Fame. A big part of his career was from Houston with Joakim Noah and the boys when they were really good. I can't remember, J-Lo, if they won 1 or 2 championships during that time.
They won back-to-back.
Yeah, back-to-back. So
that's a great story.
Absolutely. Kudos to J-Lo, Tony Aguilini, and also Billy Donovan and the Florida Gators in general. Big, good weekend for him.
Yeah, final words and breadwinners coming momentarily. But first, a couple last-minute news and notes from the NFL. Tyler Warren has one scheduled visit, rare as a potential top 10 pick. So we'll see where he's heading. But a lot of people are saying, he doesn't, there's no overthinking needed. Teams don't have to meet with him because they know he's a good kid, a good athlete. So Tyler Warren surely looking like a top 10 picks. Bucs head coach Todd Bowles is at the women's Final Four on Friday night, as it's the Final Four in Tampa at Amalie Arena, as is the game today. South Carolina and UConn is at Amalie Arena in Tampa as well. So maybe Todd Bowles reappears there like he was on Friday for the women's Final Four. Last minute, couple of other things in the world of the NFL. The Broncos hosting Missouri wide receiver Luther Barden for a top 30 visit. Those are still going on. Once again, J-Lo and I, you could catch our mock draft continue this Wednesday. We're going to do rounds 2 and 3 for the Bucs. So far, J-Lo is Malachi Starks round 1, the D-back from Georgia in his mock, and I have Jihad Campbell, linebacker from Alabama, in my mock. Once again, rounds 2 and 3 coming at you guys this Wednesday, 6 p.m. Eastern, here on the Buccaneers. And the last news and note around the league, former 12-year NFL vet, former All-Pro offensive lineman Teron Armstead decides to retire, hangs up his cleats. Kudos to him for an incredible NFL journey, NFL career there. Final word and breadwinners time here on the Buccaneers before we fade into the night. Then we'll return Wednesday at 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. Once again, the great Tony Aguilini. Thanks for coming, Olive, Tyler, Bobby, man, and the rest of the crew. We are 14-8 in breadwinners now, plus $57 overall. We went 2 and 2 last week. Joey and Katz hit. Katz hasn't missed a breadwinner yet this year, guys. He's 5-0 in breadwinners, so incredible. Or 4-0, maybe. Yeah, 4-0. But either way, he's undefeated. Jay Garrison checking in on Facebook, never too late. But 14-8 in breadwinners, plus $57, ladies and gentlemen. So take our bets. We've been hidden. J-Lo, breadwinner, and final word for you, my friend.
Well, here's another thing we didn't talk about. Shout out to Tampa Bay Lightning making the playoffs for an 8th straight season.
They officially clinched, and the Bulls clinched for basketball. So good news all around there.
Absolutely. So shout out to the Lightning. I think this is going to be a much different playoff run than the last 2 or 3 seasons. Can't wait for that to come up. But great always to have you guys on, coming on, talking, even though Joey, I ran into a clone of his at Disney yesterday. Really thought it was him, but what can you do?
I think you caught a charge for following him too much.
Okay.
J-Lo found his Mickey Mouse, it looks like.
No,
Oh boy!
no comment.
Hey, you got your breadwinner?
Yeah, my breadwinner. Give me the Rays beating the Rangers today. I think they're gonna definitely win the 3rd game instead of losing another game. Drew Rasmussen, one of my favorite pitchers. He was on fire in his first start, so I think he's gonna have a productive day. Go Rays.
Hopefully, yeah, I love Razzie. He had a hell of a first start, and he really did well last year in limited innings when he came back from that big injury when they kind of made him the opener role or, the main innings eater. So I love Razzie. I like the Rays' chances today. I actually have them in a parlay today because I think they're due as well. Joey, breadwinner and final word from you, my friend. Hopefully Luke McDevitt is
final word is hopefully Luke, you're out there.
He's gone.
Went from sleeping on our floor to gone in 60 seconds. Really not sure what went on there, but we love you, Luke, and we support you strongly with that same sweatshirt you wear every week. Moving on to my breadwinner. I'm going with the Astros. And listen here, Jacob Samurai. If the Astros lose, I am done with them for the season. I hope many bad things upon them because they're playing the Minnesota Twins, who I've already lost a lot of fantasy love on. So Houston Astros at even money will be
guys.
my
I don't know if this is funny or not, but my parlay I made before both your breadwinners are Rays money line and Astros money line in a parlay. So.
Well, so Tones will be taking out some legs if we lose this in totality, that means. So, J-Lo, in all seriousness, good luck to your Gators. Hopefully you're not stuck in Mickey Mouse's butt for the finale tomorrow. But I really appreciate you. And Tones, I'll see you soon for Dynasty.
Yeah, Joey, you had an epic Friday as well. Don't forget to mention that quick. Cubs and SmackDown.
Yeah, let me tell you, that was, for an old man like me, a very awesome but tiring day. Saw Cubs opener with Tones and the family. Shota Imanaga is an ace, pitched like it. Then traveled to SmackDown with the great Christian Emad in Cleveland. Us and the United Nations rolled up into SmackDown around 6 o'clock Central, and it was awesome. CM Punk delivered his favor, and Paul Heyman will be in CM Punk's corner. WrestleMania main event, night 1 versus Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins. Thank y'all.
Yep, great time, Joey Nips. And I was at the Cubs home opener. Then I went to the Bulls game. I went 2-0, saw 2 wins. It was a great time. Got a Benny the Bull giveaway, little action figure at the Bulls game. Then got a little Cubs magnet scheduled at the Cubs game. So Friday was an incredible double dip for Joey and myself. He did wrestling and the Cubs. I did Cubs and the Bulls. So my final word is I love sports, man. Anytime I could get to an event, I will. Shout out to Olivia for taking me to the Bulls game. My breadwinner, I keep going back and forth here. Obviously, I like the 2 games you 2 pick. Like I said, bunch of jackasses robbing me from my pick. Now I gotta go elsewhere. But yeah, I'll try and do since you guys took my hard ones, I'll try and do a different one. I'll do UConn women's money line. $20 to win 7. Why not? You guys took my top 2, so I'll settle for that one since we're all on them anyways.
You're welcome.
As well. You're welcome. All right, so J-Lo is a raise 20. That'll pay. Let me see how much that would pay here quickly. Mine, UConn ladies basketball, 20 to win 7. The raise is 20 to win 20. And the Astros are 20 to win 21. So stay with us here on the Buccaneers. We'll be back Wednesday. J-Lo Tampa Tones. Our mock draft continues Wednesday. Rounds 2 and 3 for the Buccaneers. J-Lo, fire the damn cannons. Go Bucs. Good luck to the Gators, buddy. I'll be rooting for you and for my futures bet. But I'll be rooting for you, my friend.
Oh, absolutely, man. It's an exciting time for me right now. Watching the Gators, seeing the Lightning clinch a playoff spot. It's gonna be a fun, playoff talk when we get to it. And the NFL draft is coming up. We're 2 weeks away?
Yep, 2.5 weeks away only.
2.5 weeks away. I mean, I'm ecstatic, man. The rumors keep floating around who we're gonna take and all that. I'm just amped. I can't wait. Especially on my birthday week. I mean, turning 35, and I got WrestleMania the weekend before, and then I got the NFL draft right after. So it's gonna be a fun week.
A great birthday week for you with Mania and the draft, brother.
Yes, sir. Absolutely, man. Take care. Go Bucs. Go Gators. Enjoy your Sunday FUNDAY. Everyone that tuned in, thank you very much, and we'll see you Wednesday.
Fire the damn cannon. See you Wednesday, 6:00 p.m. Eastern on the Buccaneers. Take it easy. Go Gators. Good luck, J-Lo. Joey's on Houston. J-Lo's on Gators. Gonna make for a fun next weekend show. Thanks, everybody. Take care. Enjoy South Carolina UConn Women's Championship today, 3:00 Eastern on ESPN. And AEW pay-per-view tonight, AEW Dynasty, 6:00 Eastern. Pre-show starts on YouTube. Thanks, everybody. Happy Sunday. God bless. Good luck, Lightning, Bulls, Cubs, Rays the rest of the way. We appreciate it. Game on Sunday, man. I know you're nervous for the Rams, but you got to be a little enthusiastic after being there.
Bro, that game atmosphere was ridiculous. The energy, the electricity. That place was rocking. Anyone was there, and a lot of the Super Buck fans were there too. The Bucs.
Tampa Tones. We are joined by lead goon tonight, host of the Pat and Aaron Show of WDAE, Pat Donovan. And it sounds like Stunna is bumbling a little bit. Going to put him on mute for a second until that gets a little cleared. But we're joined by Pat
It looks like
Donovan.
Stunna's hanging out with Cheech and Chong in a car with the windows up or something over there.
It does look like we got a little.
No, my camera's broke.